Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. And we're going to pick up where we left off from the last Tailwind episode. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to replace this whole H1 tag with a snippet that I prepared earlier for this lesson. What I did here was we just added the appropriate classes to style this. The main things to pay attention here, we added some spacing and we did some blocking, and we have the default font and we keep the leading to normal. The text is justified to the left, so within this article that text is on the left hand side, and we made everything capitalized, and we made the font extra bold, and we set the font to a specific size. Like in this case, it'll be text 5XL. This is what's going to give this really thick, bold effects of this text. What we failed to mention, or what I failed to mention in the previous, our theory, I added a span tag here. You could remove this and just use breakpoints or something, or do something kind of, wonky like that, but it doesn't really make sense. So I thought the best approach for this was to put a span tag, put the text that I want within that span tag, within that H1, and then apply the appropriate styling to this. And the styling in this case would be, I set the text to 5XL, the font to extra bold, and the leading I set to 64 pixels. And this is an arbitrary value that I found worked well for this. You can change this or adjust it depending on what you're doing. And I didn't want it to wrap, so white space was no wrap. And then here's the text. Another thing that I added here was I wanted the beta text to be kind of just above the Guardian, so just above the S. So I used the SUP tag, which is the superscript tag. So it takes the text and it superscripts it, which means that it appears half a character above the normal line. So we put this thing just a little bit. Here's the normal line. We went it up a little bit, but it wasn't still high enough. So what I did was I moved it up just a little bit higher using the negative value of the Tailwind top class. And then I vertically aligned everything with the super. So I wanted it vertically aligned to the super so it didn't actually go anywhere else. And then I set the text to small, and we added these other extra attributes as well. So here I just left the leading to none. Okay. And we'll save this out and we'll have a quick look and we'll see what this looks like. Here's the text. It's in that extra bold font, and it's set. The beta is normally supposed to be using that superscript, like half the character above this. But when we use that minus top 8, we were able to push this up even a little bit further. Now, if we were to try and, check this responsively to see how we're doing, let's inspect this. So we notice that the beta text kind of shifts down, and then it disappears, and then ultimately at a certain point it's up to here. But when you go too small past a breakpoint that I haven't accounted for, it starts to tuck itself in. So you can work on that and try to get it a little more responsive and do some things along that will fit whatever your needs are. But for now, this is actually pretty good and it's working as expected. So let's just jump back into our code right now. So once again, kind of the same repetition for the P tag. I'm going to add the class. I'm going to paste in the classes. So really it's just relatively, we're spacing these things, adding the right font, making sure it's a base font of 16. And it's going to be, actually we have two fonts here. So this technically should be, let's make this font base and remove this medium. Okay, that looks a little bit better there. And base, okay. And then we keep the leading to normal. We have the text going to the left. And this is just Tailwind's kind of color. So there's some default colors. I just, use the text neutral 400. And then, just to save us some time, you could type in some arbitrary checks here. But if you use Emmet, you can just type in lorem and it will generate some lorem ipsum for you. So it's just some random generated text to give you an idea of what is going to go inside this content. If you're doing this for real, you just attach your blurb or whatever your message is in here. All right. So while we're back over here, the next thing that was taken care of was, this was kind of a unique piece here because we have the two buttons, right? So the first button is an actual button tag, and the second button is an anchor tag that we make look like a button. Now in the original diagram, these things were side by side. So if we were to add something like the actual flex, or let's say the flex entity beside these, which I'll show you guys, you'll see them side by side. But in this case, I wanted it to be a grid, and I wanted the grid to justify at the start, which means starts at the beginning. And then I wanted to have a certain gap in the Y value, and I wanted it to left align as well. So this just kind of helped me figure out where I wanted this button to be placed. So don't forget to like, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts below. Hit the notification bell. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Until next time.